This is AcquaNINJA, and for this video, I want to show something that most people don't show you. They show you secrets of Zelda Breath of the Wild. They show you tutorials on how to get to places and shrines and things of that nature. I'm going to break the mold. I'm going to show you all this that they don't want you to know. Breath of the Wild has millions of things that are discoverable, millions of things that you can find for yourself, but there's certain things you just will never find unless you just happen to be really random and stumble upon it. So speedrunners often want to beat the game in as fast as time as possible, right? So there's actually a way to sprint infinitely. Now let me show you the example. Like this little kid is doing, if you sprint, you waste stamina. Eventually, when you run out of stamina, obviously you can't run anymore. And you have to wait until your entire stamina gauge refills. But what if I told you you could run at 85% speed forever? So here's how you do it. While sprinting, you want to, on your controller, hold the whistle button while pressing the B button repeatedly. So what it'll look like is something along the nature of this. And as you can see, he's sprinting, but it doesn't use stamina. And just for comparison's sake, this is actual sprint. This is what I'm doing. So it is 85% sprint speed, and what speedrunners do is they'll sprint like this, sprint normally, and once their state gauge starts running out, then they start doing that again in transition. It's actually really hard to transition like this. It takes a little bit of practice to get there. But once you get it, it's perfect because you can use 100% and 85% speed. So you can get to places like, let's say that mountain off in the distance, you can get there really, really quickly because you have an infinite stamina. Trick number 2, we're actually going to get into the weapons. Now, as you can see, I have every material in the game, literally. And there's a lot of different types of weapons. But the thing about the game is they never actually specify what the numbers mean. And for a lot of people, they're like, come on, dude, it's obviously the strength of the weapon. But for newcomers, you see 60 and 38, and you may think, oh, the 60 is the durability and the 38 is the power. That makes sense. That's not how it works. So the current weapon you're using is denoted by the left number. And the weapon that you're about to use, or the weapon you're going to get, is denoted by the second number. So in this case, I'm using the Royal Broadsword. So it's 60. So any other weapon is going to be whatever the strength of that is. So 60 to 42 in this case. 60 to 49 in this case. And the description of the weapon right here, as you can see, when it's gold and it shows attack up plus 24, this is another concept where essentially if you see the letters in if you see the symbol in gold, that means it's like basically a top tier version of that weapon upgrade. But if you see it in white, then it's the normal upgrade, like this. Plus 9 guard up versus it would be like plus 20 guard up. So if you get the gold version of weapons, typically later in the game you'll get mainly gold, but you still may get a few whites or nothing at all, like these two. So make sure you swap out the gold with the white. Gold seems to last a little bit longer, the durability is a little bit higher, as well as whatever the benefit of the thing is. And they typically have way higher stat increases, like plus 20 and plus 14 and things like that, versus like the normal one might be plus 4, plus 3. Smaller upgrades that are less incremental and will actually, you'll actually be able to notice a difference in that. Another helpful tip, especially for beginners, is that you can parry guardian shots back if you hold your shield out, and just as the beam releases, you press A to block it back. You have to actually press A though, And it hits back at him, and essentially, for guardians that are stagnant, it's a 1-hit KO. For ones that have that are moving around, it takes 3 of those to kill them. Okay, so there's a few other things that you can actually do with the Master Sword, as you can see. One is if you have full hearts, just like in the classic games, you can actually hold it out like you're going to throw it, and it'll actually release a beam. As you can see, this beam went super duper duper far, It's based on how many hearts you have. So if you have a lot of hearts, then it'll go really far. If you have like 4 or 5 hearts, it'll go pretty short of a distance. This is called Terrytown. If you don't know what this is, it's tied to a side quest called Hylian, the Hylian Homeowner, I believe. Basically, this is a new town where you actually get if you just actually do side quests. Cool little city over here. It has a lot of unique and cool things. But one of the concepts I want to show you is this guy right here will actually have a mission, which basically tells you to go over here and kill a couple of guardians. Guardians in this game, there's a lot of like stagnant guardians, and maybe people don't know, but if you walk up to a guardian that's already stagnant, not the live ones like that, but if you just walk up to a stagnant one, you can actually search it. I really wanted to show this concept, so really early in the game, see, as you can see, this is the Great Plateau Shrines. You'll see a lot of guardians that are just stagnant, and you walk up to them and you press A to search, bam, free parts. And you can actually, later in the game, take all these parts and essentially get a lot of cool stuff. If you go to the Alki Spring Shop, you can actually exchange it for parts and gear and things like that, as well as gear and costumes. So it's pretty beneficial to actually just get the part. For this section, I wanted to show that in cold regions, as you can see, you don't actually need to eat spicy foods or wear armor that protects you against the cold. You can just have a weapon of the opposite element. So if you're in a cold environment, have a hot weapon. If you're in a hot environment, have a cold weapon. As you can see, it reduces your resistance up. It increases your resistance and reduces your threshold. So it allows you to stay out in the cold. And as long as you have this weapon with you, it'll allow you to have cold resistance. Another good point that I was actually going to get to is locking enemies in loops. If you have any Lizzle Tri-Boomerang, there's 2 ways you can do it. One is you can, oh, well, see, obviously now I'm not wearing no weapon, so the effect goes away. That is AG. So one method is to simply pull it out, hit him with it. Comes back to you, repeat process. Obviously he cannot do anything because as soon as he gets back up, I am hitting him. That's one easy way to kill enemies of most stature, unless they're like boss type enemies. So for the hardened Zelda fans, they probably have heard of a thing called chew swapping, which essentially means later in the game you're going to have a lot of different types of chew. And more than likely you're going to have a lot of blue chew and not too many of these 3 types of chew. Especially with the white and the yellow chew, because they're a lot more rare to get. So to convert any chew into any other chew, you just have to know the elemental breakdown. White chew is ice or frost. Red chew is fire, and yellow chew is electric. So knowing this, also it's in the description, as you can see, struck by electric current, will explode into a ball of flame with cold mist. So you kind of can get a little brief explanation of that right there. So what you want to do to change your chew into a different type of chew is go to the region of that chew. In this case, I'm in a hot region, as you can see from the temperature gauge. So I put these chew on the ground, and wait a second. Bam! They instantly get converted into red chew. This is super helpful if you are getting, trying to get a certain costume leveled up, and it's like you need red chew or white chew, and you're like, darn, I don't know where to get this chew at. You can just easily convert the chew you already have. For white chew, I'll show you how to get that one as well. Same concept. So this is a great example of a place where you could do all 3 at the same time. So I'll take my blue chew, as seen here. If you put it on the ground, you'll notice that kind of nothing really happens, right? But notice this. There's a ice whiz robe right here, and I'm going to actually go and approach him. Fire instantly melts ice, so obviously it's a one-hit KO. And he has a Blizzard Rod, which is perfect. Now if we go back to the original location and we... Ooh, Tony Hawk. Get some of the Blue Chew again. Let's put that down there. The Blizzard Rod essentially is just like an ice rod, but more evolved. So it has the effects of it. Elemental rods are the easiest way to convert Chew, but you may not always have access to these. Bam. Instantly converts the blue into ice, as well as melting the fire right there. Fire is important because if you're ever just out in a bind and you're like, I really need red Chew, and you don't want to go to like Goron Mountain, you can just literally put them right into the fire. Boom, instantly converts to red Chew. So we got the white Chew, we got the red Chew, and we got blue Chew automatically, right? So how do you get yellow Chew? Great question. I'll do it all in the same region so that way you know that you don't need to be anywhere special to do this. It's just a little bit windy right now, so let me put these like right here. Okay. So you want to grab any electric weapon. In this case, I'll just use the lightning rod. Instantly converts them into yellow Chew. So with this trick, you essentially can have all the types of Chew that you can have. You know the game, yellow, red, white, and blue. And as much as you want of those. So you can convert any of them to any other one, you know. If you want to have more white Chew, you can have more white Chew. If you want to have more red Chew, you can have more red Chew. I've noticed in the game, obviously, these three are the more rare ones. So convert your blue Chew into these because it's easier to get more money and things like that. The final couple of secrets that I will reveal to you for the 7th secret will be basically, most people know about crouching, right? It's a very efficient way to sneak up on enemies. As you can see from the sound gauge, it doesn't require that much sound. And if you walk slower, even less sound. What you don't know is if you crouch and you press Y while not holding the analog stick fully up, you actually reduce the most amount of sound and you can travel really, really fast like this. So if you want to sneak up on a horse in a distance, really efficient way to do it. The Chew's Easter egg is back, and I just think it's hilarious because if you hit these, they'll actually give you bird eggs. Chews obviously will attack you, and as always. But it's just really cool that they put this back for all the like OG Zelda fans. One more thing for completionists, if you want to get 100% in this game, which I'm sure a lot of you do, the Divine Beast, right? They're really awesome, they're really cool, but this game doesn't do percentages proportionally. What I mean by that is, as you can see from the bottom left corner, it says 27.95% out of 100. And anybody with any intelligence will realize, okay, you got 20 hearts, you have all 4 Divine Beasts already conquered. You've beaten darn near all the side quests. You know, like why is your percent so low? Well, essentially how this game does it is does it in a linear fashion. So everything equals 0.08%. Each Korok seed is worth 0.808%. Each Divine Beast is worth 0.08%. Now you see where it doesn't make really that much sense. And because of this, the main quest of the game, through percentage base, is Korok seeds. Korok seeds make up 72% of the game, according to the percent. So if you want to get 100% in this game, get the Korok seeds. Go to every location on the map, which means every little crook and cranny, all of these little things. You have to get each and every little mini location. There's about 30, 40 of these, as well as each shrine completed, which will give you a grand total of 100%. I just wanted to throw that out there for some people wondering, like, why I beat the game, I have all the hearts, I did all this stuff, and my percent's really, really, really low. It's probably because you didn't do that many Korok seeds. So there's a map online. I'll probably link it in the description below so you can actually see where the Korok seeds are, and it'll overlay on top of the map right here. The only problem is you have to zoom in twice before, you know, you can actually see which Korok seeds you already have. So it makes it a little bit more annoying because you got to go like section by section to see which ones you have and which ones you don't have. But I'm sure if you already beaten the game and you know you're kind of bored and you just want to keep playing this game, you'll try to get 100%. So as always, this is AcquaNINJA. Remember to comment, rate, subscribe, and have an Aqua day.